I'm not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for Life in the UK test, part 165, Conservative Government from 1979 to 1997. That is on page 58, by doing medial plane training, and if you participate in the medial plane training, that is at your own risk. So, Margaret Thatcher are the first two words, or the first name. Britain's first woman Prime Minister, led the Conservative government from 1979 until 1990. Let's go shortly about what we had about Margaret Thatcher. So we're having here a picture of Margaret Thatcher. And she was elected in 1959 as a Member of Parliament for the Conservatives. And in 1970, 11 years later, that's good, as a Conservative Member of Parliament in 1959, and then for 11 years she was a Member of Parliament, and then in 1970s, 11 years later, she became Secretary of State for Education and Science, Secretary of State for Education and Science, and then in 1975 was the general election. In 1975 she became the leader of the Conservative Party, and then in 1979, we should actually remember that number, 1979, it's not the hardest number. Then she was for 11 years Prime Minister. So she was for 11 years Member of Parliament, just so like that, and then for 11 years Member of Prime Minister. But she was also, so it was not in the military, he was then for 5 years Secretary of State for Education and Science, for 5 years, and then for 4 years the leader of the Conservative Party. And during her premiership, there were a number of economic reforms. She worked closely with Ronald Reagan, and she recognized and welcomed the changes in the Soviet Union, which then eventually led to the end of the Cold War. Margaret Thatcher, Britain's first woman Prime Minister, led the Conservative government from 1979 until 1990. We had it already. So that means that Margaret Thatcher, the name, we actually should remember the name. She was the first female person who was Prime Minister in Great Britain, and she led the Conservative government for 11 years, from 1979 until 1990. The government made structural changes to the economy through the privatization of nationalized industry and imposed illegal controls on trade union powers. So we should be careful with making any assumptions. If something is written here on the page 52 that the government took into public ownership, nationalized the railway, coal mines and gas, water and electricity supply. This goes periodically, mostly, not every time, we found it already, through it. So if you read something, we should keep in mind that that is maybe not in the present situation the same. Everything that exists can change or something like that. So things were nationalized here in the welfare state that was under Clement Attlee in 1945 until 1951. It was 6 years, I think. We had it at one time, but it was 6 years or something like that. And now it was privatization of nationalized industries and imposed legal controls on trade union powers. So now things who were nationalized were privatized. It was a privatization. They were privatized. So things now who were nationalized, so who were controlled by the government and were in public ownership, when some of them were now privatized. So they came again into the hands of private companies. And imposed legal controls on trade union powers. I still don't know what trade union powers are. We had here, during the 1970s, the problems in the economy. Many industries and services were affected by strikes, and this caused problems between the trade unions and the government. I have still that little suspicion that these are the organizations for the workers. We're going on. So Margaret Thatcher, or her government, imposed legal controls on trade union powers. So that these trade union powers, whatever they are, can't now do that much, but they having laws and they controlling them, you can do only that and that. It would still fit with the idea which I have that these are organizations which are basically working as the advocates, as the lawyers for, as a voice for, as a coordinator for the workers. They were coordinating the strikes. They're saying so much people are striking here, so that because they have a will to bring for something. But these were seen by many people as harmful, these activities, and that these trade unions were too powerful. But they were saying, I don't know it, we're striking for, let's say, 4 years in all hospitals, and many people are going to die. They don't say that, but something like that. Maybe let's make it a bit more moderate. They are saying we're going to strike Monday to Friday from 7 until 9 o'clock, all traffic workers. And now the children have big problems to come to school, and now the people could say, now our kids don't get education, and we have to fight the ignorance, but it's not okay. I don't know. It's something like that. So they're striking, and some people are saying that is too much. And we still don't know if it is even the case, if we are talking about what we're talking about when we're talking about trade unions, because I don't know what trade unions are. Deregulation saw a great increase in the role of the City of London as an international centre for investment, insurance, and other financial services. We're going to make a second part. We're doing now the complete media plan training, and if you have time left, we're trying to learn inventions, their inventor, and their invention year. Nothing else. So if you like, you can go on to the second part of it. Now to the media plan training. We are having the legs standing wide apart, and we are doing the chunk ignite. We're breathing in, and we're breathing out. Breathing again in, and out, and breathe again in, and out, again in, and out. Now close the legs. Now, and out. And we're going to the first exercise. We're having a good straight leg. The other leg comes up into the air with a right angle, flex foot. We're having even lined hips, so don't be too high on one hip. And we're having a straight back and a reposition in the lower back. And we're pressing with the hand against the knee. We're having a little bend in the elbow. You can do it just with moderate forces, take it a bit easier, or you can also do it quite heavily. It's all at your own risk. And your own decision, your own want. Whatever that is. One of the 5 giant evils. A bit longer. Even light hips, thought up with the back. And we're going to the opposite. We leg up, right angle with the leg, flex foot, even light hips, thought up with the back, and pressing from the top against the knee. Little bend it. Even light hips, thought up with the back, bend in the elbow. A little longer, and now to the next exercise. One leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even the hips up the back, pressing up on the inside, and we're having a little bend in here. Even line hips, thought up the back, little bend in the elbow, pressing on the inside. Few last seconds. And over to the other side. The leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips, start off the back, and we're pressing again. Right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips, start off the back. A little longer. And to the next exercise. One leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even hips start off the back. And when he presses up to the side. When he presses up to the side. To the side. A few last ones. And the Fiani. Right angle of the leg, flex foot, even hips, start off the back. And he presses up to the side, up and to the side. Even lying hips. Tot of the leg. Tot of the back. Riding of the leg. A few last ones. And we're just having one last exercise, the biggest one of all. The heavy swing though. We're bringing one leg up into a right angle, flex foot, either right hip, start off the back. And we're pressing on the outside against the leg. And we're opening very slowly. And we're closing again slowly. Or we're pressing the whole time, we're having a little bend in here. And we're going to do it 4 times. And we're closing again. No forfeit. Closing. And for last time. Last time. And down. Now with the other leg. The leg up. Riding up the leg. Flex foot, right hip, start up the back. Pressing on the outside. And we're opening slowly. We're closing again. And we're opening again at the same time. And closing again. Forfeit. And close. And focus. And close. Last time. And just for closing exercise. And breathing in, and going down. And down. Again in. And out. Again in. And out. And last time in. And out. Clasp the legs. And out. This was the video play training. I thank you very much and until next time.